My brain right now is like that scene in The Office where Michael's like, "Oh my God, it's happening! Everybody, stay calm! It's happening!" Because that is exactly what's happening right now. I just completed. Oh my God, these pop-ups! I just completed my Marius missions. I now have Marius for my own, for the taking. He has joined my account. Let's go ahead and take a look at him inside the uh, champion screen here. So Marius the Gallant is now on my account. I have purchased the masteries for him. I have put as many books into him as I could. I got the A2 booked out fully, which is pretty cool. And then the A1 got like 3 books for some reason, which is okay. We need 2 more books, and then we need 3 books in total to get him maxed out there, essentially. No aura yet, unfortunately, and then I'll have to figure out what I want to put him in for a relic. I'm thinking maybe the golden elixir. It could also be very strong to place him inside some doing extra damage if they have any debuffs. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. I don't really have any sort of relics right now that particularly suit his set of skills. And then, like I mentioned, we do have the masteries maxed out. So I'm going to be showcasing to you today as a late game player how I'm going to build this guy. I'm going to be using the Hell Hades Artifact Optimizer, which is currently on my second screen, but there you go. And I'm going to be giving you kind of like a little guide on the use case of the optimizer for this as well, since I know a lot of people are going to be getting this champion over the next little bit. This guy is probably one of the best rated champions inside the entire games. He has 5s in every single place with the exception of 4, which is Sand Devils. He can still be perfectly serviceable there. Demon Lord, and then Fire Knight and Ice Golem. He's not really, incredible for those areas, of course. Raid, for your next update, please, for the love of God, allow us to have player recommendations where we can put in a note like Watcher Realms or something like that, or make these gear sets a little bit more up to date, or allow us to vote on it. How cool of an idea would that be? Like, you could come in here, you could vote for the set, you could vote for the main stat, and then you could vote for like priority substats or something like that, right? Nobody's building Marius like this. Nobody. Not a single person is going to have him built like this, right? You might have the defense set on him if you're very early game, right? So that would be a cool update. That being said, though, let's go ahead and let's take a look here. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to come into the optimizer and we're going to go to champions, right? I'm going to remove Crixia. We're going to filter to the locked champions, and the reason for this is I believe somewhere inside here I do have my Harima. Now, the unfortunate part about getting Marius is I'm going to have to break my Harima build because she has my best defensive nuking gear on my entire account, and I want this guy to be an absolute menace. So we'll go ahead, we'll remove him from the lock there. Is there anyone else? I don't know where it went or why, but it just disappeared there on me. Let's see, is there anyone else who's locked that I want to unlock so that we can potentially get some better gear on the Marius? I think we'll unlock more too. I don't think he's in defensive gear, but he probably has some stone skin on him. We're going to keep Fushan locked, and then Black Knight doesn't need to be locked anymore. Going through this, there isn't many defensive champions, and there's certainly not many champions that are built out inside Stone Skin either, so I think we should be okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set this to all, and we are going to find our boy Marius. So he's right here. First of all, though, let's go ahead, let's get some masteries on him so that we have those properly built out. So I'm going to be building him out inside the defense and the offensive tree, obviously, because that's kind of how you want your damage dealers built out. I'm very happy because this guy is probably like the second most popular pick that I'm going against currently in the live arena, right after somebody like Armand's, and it is bloody annoying. So these are the masteries that I have built out on him. I don't think you can really see it because of my head, but we come down to Helm Smasher there, and then another thing I want to try him in is Blood Shield, so that whenever he kills somebody, it's going to place a shield buff on himself, equal to 15% of his max HP, which is certainly going to be okay. And then, of course, he does have very solid base HP for a damage dealer at just under 20,000 there, which is pretty crazy. We already have him at 30,000 HP, and we haven't put any gear on him. I just got done recording a video talking about how ridiculous like area bonuses and stuff like that are. This just goes to show that further, right? 2100 defense, no gear on him. He's 110 base speed, by the way, people, so he's on par with an Arbiter in terms of base speed, and he is a freaking damage dealer, so that is pretty incredible. Now, let's go ahead. Let's go to Optimize. We're going to do damage mode, and we're going to do it for his A2, obviously. Now, for the configuration, he has the crit rate. He's also got that, and then I think that is all. Yes. So, whatever, it didn't update in real time there for some reason or another. For stats, obviously we want him with 100% crit, so we're going to add sets. And I want to have him built out inside, let's remove set actually. We're going to build him out inside Stone Skin. Preferably, at least, if I can find it here, and I want at least a 4 count on it. And then for stats on him, I would like to go for like 270 is probably pushing it. Let's try 250 on the speed. And then if I recall correctly, he does have an increased accuracy already. So yeah, that's pretty intense. We already have him at 100 accuracy. Let's maybe just say 250 on the accuracy as well, just so we have a decent amount of accuracy there. Now we're going to go ahead. No results were found. Why? What did we do wrong? Can we get him built out with... Include artifacts, unlock champions, exclude priority 5. Let's go ahead and try that. So we'll stop this. Can I not stop this? Hello? Hello? Hell Hades artifact optimizer? Hello? Okay, configure. Same thing. Let's try to optimize once again. And it looks like we are having some potential builds coming back here. So it says that it's going to take like 40 minutes to complete. I doubt it's actually going to be 40 minutes. We can start looking at some of these while it does its thing. So you can pause the optimizer to view the results, right? And then pausing it allows you to actually view the builds there. So this would be a pretty decent build. 4,500 defense. 253 on the crit damage. Obviously, if I get him awakened, I can get more crit damage out of him. And then we have 250 on the accuracy. Plus the 50% accuracy is going to give him roughly 375 after the buff lands, which should be plenty enough to debuff most champions in the game. Now, the downside, though, is that he's not going to be built out inside any sort of, like, you know, lethal set or savage set or those sorts of things. So, let's see if we can't go back. I'm going to go into the game here because I know we want Stone Skin on him, obviously. So let's go to Equipped Fitting Room. Then we're going to go here and just see what we have. So I noticed that I don't have any sort of crit damage amulet, which is incredibly disappointing. I also don't really have a whole lot for like HP or defensive based rings. And then I have like just one banner, essentially. So that is a bit of a shame. And then even just for like regular like banners and all that sort of stuff, we don't have a whole lot going on there either. So I can certainly see why it wants us to pull this Uko banner because it gives us a good amount of defense on there as well, which we can also glyph to get more defense. Let's see what else it pulls though. Is this still just the best one? It is so far, yeah. That's unfortunate. It would be nice if we could get him built out inside a lethal set, but we can't get a amulet and we can't get a banner from Stone Skin. So realistically, for the time being at least, we may have to just suck it up and put him inside the gear sets that don't do as much damage, right? Having him not in lethal or savage or those sorts of things is going to cut into his damage capabilities by quite a bit, unfortunately. But this is also a really good showcase for other players out there who can now get a better idea of how you actually have to use the optimizer, right? So we have 4 pieces of Stone Skin here, essentially. This is a pretty decent build. We're starting to pull off the Harima there, so it looks like our damage output potentials are getting a little bit better. I'm kind of debating, like, if I were to put him into something like this, it will really cut into our crit damage, obviously, but it'll give us that extra Stone Skin, and then we can have a damage dealing piece up top. The lack of a Stone Skin banner absolutely kills me, though, because that's going to cut into our speed so much. Attack, HP, and attack. That's quite terrible. The only bonus is that it's like a resistance primary stat. I'm going to go ahead and rework it, though, and just hope that we get something a little bit better here, like maybe some stat. Speed and defense substats are decent. So if we compare that to like the banners that it's trying to pull for us here, let's go ahead and pause. So it's wanting us to have accuracy on there, so we would lose quite a bit of accuracy on him, but we would also potentially get a little bit of speed as well. So let's see if we can't do that, right? Because it's going to put us into a... Or no, sorry, it will be a 4-piece lethal. And then we still have the 4 pieces of stone skin. I don't know what I'm talking about. This is looking to be quite a good build. 5,400 defense, 255 on the speed with 296 accuracy and then 172 resistance. That's going to be a very solid build for him. We're only about 30% complete here, though, so we'll kind of just keep chatting while we wait. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Marius somehow at this point, his A1 attacks all enemies having a 50% chance of placing an Enfeeble debuff for 1 turn. Damage based on defense. What does Enfeeble do? Enfeeble basically is a fuck you button that says you can only do weak hits against my team, so it's very, very solid. A2 attacks all enemies 3 times. Each hit decreasing the duration of all enemy buffs by 1 turn. That is insane. Damage based on defense as well as enemy max HP. The reason this is so insane is because decreasing the duration of buffs is not polymorphable. Polymorphable. That's the word we're going to use, right? So you can't be polymorphed if you're decreasing the duration of all enemy buffs. So his A2 is a very strong counter there. Place an increased accuracy and increased defense on all allies for 3 turns on a 4-turn cooldown. Then also places a stun on the enemy with the highest turn meter for 1 turn. Finally grants an extra turn. So chances are, say for example, if you've cut in on an enemy team, the champion that's probably going to get the stun is going to be a damage dealer. If you're going second, the enemy person that gets a stun is most likely going to be a support champion, which is very strong because obviously if it's a support champion, they won't be able to revive or turn meter boost. That's not it though. His passive is insane. This champion is immune to turn meter reduction effects and decreased speed debuffs. Whenever an enemy changes form or attempts to decrease this champion's turn meter, counterattacks using this champion's default skill. This is so strong. He basically says you can't have mythicals on your team because anytime they try to change form, I'm going to attack with an AoE that makes you do weak hits, right? He's also saying, hey, Armands, you're annoying, but I'm going to be able to counterattack every time you try to decrease my turn meter. Masteries like Evil Eye proccing on him are going to trigger his counter attack. Mikage's Form 2A1, I believe, decreases turn meter as well as tries to place a sleep. He's going to say, screw you, you can't decrease my turn meter, but I am going to attack you. He is so incredibly strong, and not only that, he also brings an ally defense in all battles by 35%. This guy is an absolute menace. Absolute menace. Let's go ahead and pause. See what kind of other builds it has here for me. So it wants me to grab everything off of my Harima, which makes perfect sense. It's my best defensive-based damage-dealing gear. And then we're going to have some decent gear coming in there from Stone Skin as well, it looks like. So I think I'm perfectly happy with the stats on this build, to be completely honest. It is very strong. However, it looks like it's saying we only have like 4 more minutes left there as well. So let's go ahead and see if we can just wait a little bit and if it gives us a bit more. So he's having 200% crit damage, which is quite low in all honesty. I would like it to be like 250, 300, somewhere in that area. But we don't even have a crit damage amulet for him. So as soon as we get a crit damage amulet from the Stone Skin set, this guy's damage is just going to soar through the bloody roof. So let's go ahead and let's actually just equip this in game. Restart raid and or extractor is the error that I got. That is obscene. What if I hit click? Nope. Alright, so we're gonna have to go ahead and do this the old school way. Nothing wrong with that. We're gonna go fitting room, equipped. We need to go to lethal first of all, which is going to be all the way down here. I've been talking for quite some time about how good lethal set is to be farming. So obviously, if you haven't listened, you should be farming some more Dark Fae inside the city of Centranos. We also need the helmet from Harima, which is right here. We need boots, which are not coming off of anyone. These are very solid boots, by the way. I don't know if you can see them with my big head in the way, but we got a crit rate. I'll show you to them. 6-star, speed main stat, speed ascension, crit rate, defense, crit damage, and accuracy on them. Perfect for somebody like a Marius. I knew I was going to get some use out of these boots at some point. We have the Harima chestplate coming over. And then we need to go to Stone Skin for these 2 pieces. So let's go ahead and let's go down to Stone Skin here. Wherever it might be, right here. So Stone Skin, the gauntlets are coming from Mr. I forgot his name, actually. I can't even remember that champion's name. And then the shield is not equipped to anyone, but it is a level 16 mythical, and it's going to be this one right here, which has some very solid stats on it. I'm going to do you guys a solid, actually, and I'm going to come over here and just like move my big face so that you can get a better look at the gear as I do this. Next, we're going to go to the accessories. We need a banner, which is going to be coming from Mr. Uko. We're going to be getting our defense with defense ascension on it right here. And then we're going to be getting our ring from Mr. Uko as well. So Mr. Uko is losing his stone skin, but we have priorities. So we'll go ahead and we'll hit equip. These are how the stats are looking now. So we got 5100 defense, 255 on the speed, 210 on the crit damage, 104 on the crit rate. And then we have 296 on the accuracy. Now, we're not done yet because we can go ahead and we can do some more ascending here and whatnot. So we're going to get this ascended up to 6 stars. That's going to give us 20% extra HP. We're also going to go ahead and try to throw in some rank 6 glyphs here for the accuracy, because I do want accuracy on my Marius. I want him decreasing buffs and all those sorts of good things. We're going to get some resistance on him here as well. I love getting pretty much like the lowest roll possible. That is fantastic. We got a 5-star speed glyph that we can use here on him as well. Again, pretty much lowest roll possible, so that's pretty sweet. And then we have failed twice on 4-star glyphs so far. Amazing. There we go. So obviously, this build is going to be a little bit stronger if these crit damage gloves were also crit damage ascension. I do not have the Chaos Dust currently to re-roll that, so that is not going to happen for today, unfortunately. And then we're also going to go to the chest plate. We're just going to make sure that everything is glyphed out as much as possible. I'm not really interested in glyphing higher there. I have a bunch of 6-star HP glyphs that I'm perfectly fine using on him, though, because I'm not really going to use them anywhere else on my account. And of course, Raid being Raid just wants me to say, hey, we don't want this HP on here. We're going to the boots. The boots haven't been glyphed at all, so we're going to try and slam some 6-star defensive into there, and we get a 7% roll. That's going to be perfect. We're going to try for some 6-star accuracy. We get the third lowest roll possible. We get a maxed out accuracy glyph on here, though, which is pretty cool. We're going up to the shield now. First of all, we're going to ascend it and hope for defense. We do get HP on it, so we're going to go ahead and ascend it to 6 stars anyways, because any sort of survivability is certainly going to help him. And when you're in the late game like this, any stats are going to help, essentially, right? So any sort of HP ascensions that we can get on there, any sort of, defense, speed, anything is going to help, right? So you're just trying to get as many min-maxed stats as possible. We're going for an HP ascension here as well, even though he's not an HP-based champion, because obviously we just want survivability on him, and HP is certainly going to help with that. We don't have the Chaos Dust to re-roll this. We're going to try and get an HP ascension here as well, which we do. The rest of this has already been glyphed out, so that's about all we can do. And then lastly, we're going to come over here and try to glyph a little bit on the accuracy, but I doubt that's going to happen. We'll go ahead and ascend it up to 6 stars as well, so that it gets the extra little bit of HP there. Now, lastly, we need to go ahead and work on our accessories a little bit. So I'm curious if I can get a better stone skin ring on this guy. Let's see. So this one is also 5-star. We only have 5-star ones, apparently. I'm going to roll this. Actually, it's kind of tempting, because if I roll it and it rolls into the right substat, it could be an upgrade for him, which defense percent, that is actually an upgrade. We're going to go ahead. We'll glyph the flat HP as well, and we do get a max glyph there, which is pretty cool. We're going to try and get defense ascension here, max defense as well. Let's see, 3 for 3, baby. Let's go. We're making up for it earlier there, that's for sure. All of those glyphs are maxed out, so we do lose a bit of HP, but his damage scales on defense, so I think I'm okay with that for the time being. We're going to take his amulet up to 6 stars here as well, or up to level 16 rather. We're going to try to glyph the accuracy. We get another max glyph there. That's pretty cool. And then we get a +5 on the resistance. Let's go for the +10 here. Not going to happen, unfortunately. But we got a little bit more resistance on him, which is pretty nice. The banner, let's go ahead and see if we can ascend that. We're hoping for like resistance. Accuracy will also work. We'll go ahead and ascend it up fully. We have enough oil to do so. And then we're going to see if we can get a good little roll here on the defense percent. We do already have a max glyph for the speed on here as well, so this is a 14 speed accuracy banner, which is not that good, all things considered, but it is certainly better than nothing. So this is how our Marius build looks now. So he's got 263 on the speed, which is pretty respectable, 49,000 on the HP, and then 5,500 on the defense, 370 on the accuracy, so we got a lot of extra accuracy out of the build. And then, of course, he does have, you know, the stone skin and the lethal combination. So let's go ahead and let's do a damage showcase with this fella, shall we? So let's go to stage 20. We don't need to worry about it too much because he is void affinity. And what's even better about this is not only is he void affinity, but he also brings his own increased defense. So we don't need to bring some sort of, you know, setup champion for him or something like that. He just simply sets himself up, which is very, very cool. So let's go ahead and let's also bring in a Lydia. And then let's also just bring in an Arbiter. She's obviously not really doing anything for him, but I want to just make sure that we can, you know, cycle through some turns effectively and whatnot. So let's go ahead and see what he's capable of doing here. I notice my webcam is a little bit blurry for some reason right now, but it is what it is, I guess. So Arbiter's going to come in and turn meter boost. Lydia's going to come in and do her AoE things. Now we're going to place the increased defense on everybody. We get the stun on Apothecary. Let's go ahead and place it on 1 times here. Boom, boom, boom. We're doing about 40k per hit against these mobs, which is lower than I would like. But again, keep in mind, he's not even inside of a crit damage amulet, so his viability is just going to soar through the roof. And then let's go ahead and let's cycle around his turns here. Let's get to the A1 and see what it's capable of doing as well. And of course, with that A2 from him, the decreasing of the buffs rather is going to be so important as well. So we get about 60k there on the A1. It looks like Helm Smasher probably procced on a couple of those. Let's go ahead. Let's show him somewhere else as well. So let's show him somewhere where his max HP capabilities are going to be a little bit more better showcased here. So let's keep a team like this, I think. Let's bring in our good old boy Marius here. And then, you know what? We will actually keep in a Kemptum as well. So let's do something like that. So we're going to have the hexes placed out there, which are going to allow us to do the extra AoE damage as well, which is pretty cool. We have Lydia coming in for the decreased defense and weaken. Mithrala, we're going to have just place her hex. Mithrala does also set him up, so we're going to go ahead and do the increased accuracy and everything like that, though. Anyways, now let's go in with his A3, or A2 rather, AoE. Boom, boom, boom. He takes out the spiderlings without an issue, and him alone is going to get the spider down to well below half, which is pretty cool. And then, obviously, again, like, the damage is just going to go astronomically through the roof if you have a crit damage amulet on him. So, for a lot of players, like, let me be perfectly clear. If you're using him in PvE, you are going to break off the Savage set and you're going to put him into a crit damage amulet. You're not going to be running him inside Stone Skin. I'm simply doing that because I want to run him inside PvP, and he's probably not going to survive unless he's in Stone Skin because I don't have any sort of like good protectors like Necrid or something like that. I could run him with a Freya, I suppose. That wouldn't be a bad idea. Let's go ahead. Let's get him set up with the increased defense AoE as well so we can make sure the Newt has it. Boom, boom, boom. Everybody's dead. We get the spider down a little bit, not quite as low this time, but let's go ahead and do this. And then a boom, and a boom coming in from the Newt. So we get him quite low there. It'd be cool to see if I could add like another, you know, champion to it, essentially. We do damage the spiders a little bit more there. So I'm thinking, what if instead of a Kemptum, we brought in like a Crixia? I'm thinking that could be a very potentially fast team. I'm wasting all of my energy here, but I really just want to test this because this is pretty much my first time playing with Marius. So I'm kind of excited to have him, obviously, right? So we'll delete this. We don't need an Odin team anymore. So let's go ahead and let's go by recently used first. We're going to put in something like this, I guess, because we don't really need the accuracy from, or we don't really need the resistance or whatever, you know what I mean. So let's go ahead and let's do this as the primary. Let's do this as the primary and then this as secondary. And then for you, you're going to go ahead and metamorph. She is the fastest though, so you're going to metamorph and then you're going to open with this. And then you're going to have a priority 1 on the Night Purge. You are going to do this, and you are going to do this. So now, if I've done my work correctly, this should be a pretty fast spider team. Let's go in here and let's just name this Spider Hard Speed. Sped. Spider Hard said. That's a good combination of the two. So let's go in here. Let's see how quick we can get through this. I was doing a lot of like spider turn tournaments and stuff like that, and they were, you know, a little bit slower than I would like. I've showcased my hard spider team multiple times, so if you're interested in that, just look on my channel and you'll be able to find a... Why did Crixia not get a turn? She metamorphed and then just didn't do anything. That is incredibly odd. I am not going to lie. So please don't tell me... Why? What? Did anyone else see that? Crixia metamorphed and then just didn't do anything. And then just like missed her turn. Is that like a one-time bug, or is that something that we can expect from Crixie? And then she's not doing her reset either. Why? What is happening? Oh, you know what? I think she might have done something. I probably just missed it. I probably set this up wrong. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to have to do this. Wait, sorry. So we're going to have to do first priority on this. Remove the opener. And then second priority on this, because I think when she metamorphed, she did the reset, and I just didn't catch it because it's a very quick animation, so I might have been too dramatic there. I'll have to watch the footage back, though. That was weird. I didn't expect her to seemingly not do anything, but let's go ahead. Now she should do the AoE block. There we go. Okay, perfect. We get the increased resistance, block debuffs. That's awesome. We're going to go ahead and we're going to fill up all our turn meters and whatnot. That is the nice part about Crixia's A2 as well on her secondary form, is she does do a turn meter fill, which is pretty cool. If I had like a slightly higher awakening on Newt there, by the way, this run would be over because I have him built out in Soul Reap. So we just need like an extra star or two on my Newt, and then this run's going to be over in like 9 turns, which would be pretty cool. Marius did get pretty low from that AoE as well. That's the downside to his HP, is he's not incredibly tanky. And there we go. Marius finishes up, takes them out. We get a 6-star banner, resistance, defense. I'm probably just going to keep that for the time being. Lastly, let's go ahead and showcase them inside some PvP. I don't have Live Arena open quite yet, so you know, we'll just have to wait essentially. That being said, what can we run him against? Well, we could certainly run him against this team right here. You know, it'd be a pretty good matchup for that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move my camera back, by the way, right about there, just so that I'm kind of at the normal spot. You're really looking to run him against any sort of like, you know, go second team or team that's going to have buffs or something like that. So in this particular team, I think we'll still run the Taurus Marichka to counter, although people will then be crying in the comments that I'm using a pay-to-win team or whatnot. So we'll just do something like this. We will go... Where's my Marius? We'll try this out, see what we can get done here. I don't know how effectively we're going to counter this. It depends on how well their AI is set up, or if their AI is set up at all, I suppose. So everybody in my team's in Stone Skin, which feels pretty good. We have him doing the strip, which is not so good. And then we have Hefrak, who is not speed tuned, unfortunately. And he comes in, his AI is not set up either. So we're going to do this. Debuff is blocked on the Arbiter, but we're just going to do that triple hit AoE. We take out the Hefrak, not doing as much damage as I wanted to see there, but then again, we get the counterattacks coming in. We're getting the, you know, Enfeeble on the A1. This guy has no awakenings, and this guy has no crit damage amulet on him. So you're getting kind of like just the raw capabilities of somebody like a Marius here, which is pretty cool. We're going to hit that AoE again. We take out the Armands. We get the Enfeeble on the Arbiter there, which is very strong. Obviously, if you have an ally attack team, he's going to be very strong in that as well because of his constant, you know, join-ups and whatnot. And then we get the Enfeeble on both of them there, which is pretty cool, but they do strip it, unfortunately. Counterattack because Arbiter's Evil Eye, I presume. We're going to get the team up from UDK, which is nice. We're going to get that extra turn, the ally attack coming in from Marius this time, which is pretty cool. And then, finally, at some point, we're going to get another turn and just go in here and boom, boom, boom. 8k, 13k. The damage is a letdown. The damage is a letdown. But again, I keep saying it, crit damage amulet is going to do wonders for this guy. He basically has no crit damage at this point. Just for sake of comparison, I will actually show you guys that, just so that you know I'm not capping, right? Just so you know I'm keeping it 100, as the as the young people say these days. I feel so old saying that, but whatever. Let's go ahead. Let's take Ragash's amulet here. And then let's go back into, like, Spider 20. And if you recall correctly, I think we were doing, like, 36k roughly with him on his A2 without the crit damage amulet. So we're now going to have roughly, like, 50% at minimum more crit damage. I don't even know off the top of my head how much an amulet adds, but we're going to go ahead and see what he's capable of doing. So we're going to get the increased defense on everybody. AoE. Boom, boom, boom. You can see we're doing about 53, 42. So you can see there's quite a bit more damage coming in there. And then, obviously, if you had this guy with, like, crit damage on the gauntlets, that would help a lot. And if you had just simply better gear than I have as well, that would help a lot. Because I've said this before, but my gear is very suboptimal. If I can build this guy out, you certainly can as well. So that is kind of how a late game player is going to build Marius. I'm going to be running him inside my Chimera team as well, because I'm very interested to see how it goes, essentially. That being said, thank you guys all so much for watching and the support on the channel, of course. As always, I'll see you next time.